During this webinar, as Fabrice mentioned, I'm going to talk about using sound therapy to manage tinnitus. And to give you just a little background about myself, I am an audiologist. I've worked in the hearing healthcare industry in a variety of roles for over 25 years and have specialized in bringing a variety of different tinnitus solutions to the market over those years to help people just like you who are struggling with tinnitus. So let's get started. And this is an agenda of what we're going to talk about. I like to kind of set the mood and set the tone for what the webinar is going to be. And you can see we're going to talk about topics today, such as the tinnitus journey, what that looks like. We'll talk about what is sound therapy and how can it help you manage tinnitus. We'll dive into the habituation process and help you understand the steps of that process. And then we'll talk more specifically about different types of sound therapy and different devices you have the option of using for sound therapy. And then very excited to introduce a new product from Tinibot, which is the Premius sound device that we'll talk about a little bit later on. And I'll also talk about some other Tinibot solutions that we have that you can utilize to help manage your tinnitus as well. My hope for today is that you're able to walk away with some valuable information that you can incorporate into your practices in finding tinnitus relief. But more specifically, I hope you walk away understanding the habituation process and what that entails, as well as think about how you can incorporate sound therapy into your own life. And we'll talk about the different unique needs each of us might have. So we're going to start with the tinnitus journey. And there are 4 stages of the tinnitus journey. Stage 1 is what we call the awareness stage. Many of us have probably been through this stage. Some of you may be going through this stage right now, which is why you're here. And this is when we first become aware of tinnitus and may start experiencing the disruption in our lives that tinnitus may be causing. Typically in this stage, you'll probably ask yourself a lot of questions and do a lot of research. We also highly recommend that you always see a healthcare professional, such as an ENT or an audiologist, when you notice your tinnitus. If that's not something you've done yet, that's something we highly recommend you do. But in this stage, it's really becoming aware of the tinnitus as part of your life. Stage 2 is called the allowance stage. And for many people, this can be the most challenging stage because this is the stage where you have to start accepting that tinnitus is a part of your life. But it's very important to also learn different management techniques and different tools that are available to help you kickstart the habituation process and help you start to cope more easily with the tinnitus and find ways to navigate the tinnitus and allow you to live a better quality of life. The 3rd stage is called the acclimation stage. And this is where you begin to start adapting to the tinnitus. You started introducing different techniques. Some of these could be sound therapy, mindfulness, or relaxation exercises. And you're starting to live your life with tinnitus being part of it. Doesn't mean that you don't hear the tinnitus anymore, but you're learning to be able to move forward, even though tinnitus is still part of your life. And the last stage, stage 4, is the achievement stage. And this is the stage ultimately we want to help everybody get to. In the achievement stage, this is where you feel you have control over your tinnitus, not the other way around. By this stage, you're hopefully using a couple of the different techniques and tools that we've suggested. But it's also important to realize that you can be open to bringing in new tools and modifying how you use some of these techniques as you gain more control over your tinnitus. It's important to remember that this tinnitus journey does take time. For some people, they'll be able to find relief just within a few weeks, but for others, it does take months. It can easily take 3 to 6 months. For some people, it can even stretch out beyond 6 months as well. The important thing to remember is that dedication and commitment are very important. So we've thrown out the term sound therapy a few times, but what exactly is sound therapy? Well, simply put, sound therapy is using some sort of sound to help distract you from your tinnitus. Oftentimes, you use sounds that you find pleasing or soothing, sounds you enjoy that help reduce the contrast of the tinnitus. And what I mean by that is if you take a look at this graph on the right side of the slide, you'll see that there's a purple squiggly line on the bottom that would represent sort of just ambient background noise in a given environment. And then you see this spike, which represents the tinnitus. And then you see another squiggly purple line at the top. That represents the sound therapy. And the idea behind it is you can see there's less of the tinnitus that's audible when you look at the top squiggly line, meaning the sound therapy. So the idea is by reducing the contrast, okay? Very similar to the analogy of light and dark. And we're going to use that analogy here shortly. Sound therapy is often part of a comprehensive treatment plan. You don't typically see it in just isolation, but it's important to be part of a counseling or guidance program, along with different types of stress management exercises, because stress is a big symptom of experiencing tinnitus, as many of you know. Sorry, my mouse is very sensitive. And just like we talked about on the previous slide, the journey takes time. And sound therapy also takes time. And over time, your brain learns to adjust to this new sound while being distracted from the tinnitus and learning that the tinnitus isn't a harmful sound. It's typically a byproduct of some impairment of the auditory system, but that doesn't mean that it's going to cause any physical harm to you. And over time, as you use sound therapy, that your brain will learn to adjust and it will start to reduce the negative reactions that you feel when you experience your tinnitus. We've also thrown the term habituation out a few times. What is habituation? Habituation is getting used to something in your environment. So in regards to tinnitus, habituation is the process where the brain learns to ignore the tinnitus over time because the thoughts are changing from negative to more neutral. And sound therapy helps facilitate this by providing a consistent sound to the brain that you can get used to over time. One of the most classic types of sound therapy sounds most people have heard of are something like white noise, for example. But we're going to talk about some other types of sound therapy that you can use as well. And then lastly, this concept of neuroplasticity, that the brain is plastic, that it can be molded, that it can be changed over time. And that's what the journey and habituation are all about. It's about changing the brain's reaction to the tinnitus from negative to neutral by using a variety of different tools, in this case, sound therapy. So as we mentioned earlier, the goal of sound therapy is to decrease the contrast between the tinnitus and the sound. That's the spike with the purple squiggly lines that we looked at. But I also mentioned that it's very analogous to light and dark. And a common analogy used in the tinnitus world is this candle in a dark room analogy, where the tinnitus is represented by the candle and the sound therapy is represented by the background ambient light. So on the left, you can see in a very dark room, the candle flame burns very bright. The contrast is very strong. It's very hard not to notice the candle, almost impossible. But now if you flip the light switch on and that candle blends into the background of a very busy restaurant scene, although the candle flame is still there, it's much harder to notice because it blends into the background and you're distracted by other things that you can choose to focus on. This is very similar to tinnitus. And by turning on the lights in this example and learning to get used to the candle flame being at the table, this process is known as habituation. So it's time to get some of your feedback. And one thing we'll do throughout this is we'll ask you guys a few questions to better understand your experiences and your stories as well. So this first question I'm going to put up has to do with, have you used sound therapy for tinnitus before? I'll give you a minute to answer this question. Be interested to see what everybody's experience has been with sound therapy. Seems like many of you have used sound therapy before, which is great. All right. Well, that's a great response. I mean, 89%, we can take a look real quick. 89% of you said, yes, you have used sound therapy before. A couple of you haven't. Hopefully you'll get some ideas of how you can incorporate sound therapy. And for those of you who have used it, hopefully you can get some other ways of incorporating sound therapy. All right. Thank you guys for that. So we talked about habituation, about getting used to something in your environment, the candle in the dark room analogy. But let's just spend a minute going a little bit deeper into what the steps of habituation are. So the first step of habituation is that you're paying increased attention. You're more aware of the tinnitus. And because it's something new, your brain pays attention to it because it's a new stimulus. But over time, we want to start reducing the reaction. We talked about this in terms of reducing the negative thoughts that come with tinnitus and trying to mold them into more neutral thoughts about tinnitus. And this happens as you start to learn more about tinnitus by educating yourself, as well as incorporating different tools and strategies for tinnitus management. Over time, that leads to reducing the disruption. So by using these tools and mechanisms such as sound therapy, as we talked about, the brain starts to change and starts to react differently to the tinnitus and starts to see it as less dangerous, with ultimately the goal being to reach full habituation. Just like the candle flame sitting on the dinner table that you don't pay attention to, even though it's there, just like tinnitus, even though the tinnitus may still be there, you've gained control of it and have learned how to manage it on a daily basis. So how does sound therapy actually help manage tinnitus? Well, there's a couple of things that it does that are very, very important just in our daily lives. Well, one, as we talked about, it can help shift focus away from tinnitus by distracting using different sounds. By shifting the focus away from the tinnitus, it can in turn help improve focus and concentration, allow us to be more productive. And it can also help reduce stress and anxiety, especially by listening to calming, soothing sounds that you like. In addition, it can help promote relaxation and overall well-being. It can even help improve your sleep quality. We'll talk about some other devices that you can use specifically when you go to sleep that can help you fall asleep by providing the sound therapy that we're talking about here. One of the other great things about sound therapy is that it's non-invasive. We'll talk about a couple different ways and different products you can use to deliver sound therapy, and we'll weigh out the benefits and the drawbacks of each. But not only is it non-invasive, it's easily accessible and it's portable. Nowadays, there's a lot of technology that we're going to talk about shortly that can go with you on the go. So you can always be assured that you have sound therapy access wherever you are, no matter what situation you're in. Something that's very important to recognize, as I said a little bit earlier, that sound therapy in isolation isn't as effective as sound therapy plus some guidance or counseling program. When the two are joined together, the research has continually showed that that tinnitus management approach is more effective than just sound therapy alone. So in your journey for finding tinnitus relief, it's great to see so many of you incorporated sound therapy, but I hope many of you, if you feel, take the next step for that guidance and that counseling support as well. So what types of sounds can you use for sound therapy? I believe that anything that makes a sound is something that you can use if it's something that you enjoy listening to. So just think of the different sounds that are available to us. Probably one of the first things that comes to mind is music. You can use music for sound therapy, music you like, nature and environmental sounds, different colored noises, like I mentioned earlier, white noise, for example. There are other colored noises out there, such as brown, pink, and other colors as well. You can explore those different sounds in different places as well. Even background everyday sounds. One thing that's important is to just kind of keep some background sound with you all day long. And one of the things you can do, especially when the weather's nicer, is you can open up a window, listen to the birds sing. Maybe there's some neighborhood traffic that can provide a little background noise, or simply turning on the TV to have as background noise as well. Nowadays, even audiobooks and podcasts can be used, movies that can be streamed. All those things can be used as sound therapy. And it's important to remember that we're all different. We're all unique in what we like in regards to sound. Some people like classical music, some people like rock music, some people like all music. So sound therapy preferences vary from person to person. So when looking for different types of sounds to use, experiment and find what works best for you. And it's important to remember, when using sound therapy, when you're setting the volume, you want to set it at a level that's comfortable for you and mixes with the tinnitus, but doesn't completely cover the tinnitus. And the reason why is it's difficult to habituate to the tinnitus if you can't hear the tinnitus. So we need to be exposed to something in order to habituate to it over time. Therefore, it's important that you set the volume comfortably, but at a level where you can still hear your tinnitus. This is what we call the mixing point. And here I'm going to play an audio clip for you. But before we do that, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at right here, this yellow line would represent your tinnitus. These white waves right here would be the sound therapy. And you can see that the tinnitus is above the sound therapy most of the time. And there's a few times here you can see where the sound therapy goes above the tinnitus. But for the large majority of the time, you can hear the tinnitus faintly in the background. And this is how a visualization of how sound therapy should work. And you do want to be careful not to make it too soft, because if the sound therapy is too soft, it won't mix with the tinnitus. You may not even hear it, and it won't provide a lot of help to promote habituation. So an example of it being too soft could be, but at the same time, you want to be mindful that you don't make it too loud. Making sounds too loud, as we just said, covers the tinnitus and does not promote habituation. Plus, it can provide discomfort to many of you as well. So you want to be mindful of how loud or how soft the sound is when you're setting the volume. In terms of how long should you use sound therapy? Well, in the beginning days, you should probably just start getting used to listening to sounds on a regular basis. Maybe in the early days, you might want to do it for an hour or two at a time, a couple times a day, with the idea of the goal working to using sound therapy all day long. Now, we've talked about different types of sound therapy, different types of sounds, but it's also something you should consider is what sounds are best in what situations. And an easy way to think of this is, if you're at work and you're in a meeting, you probably don't want to be listening to lyrical music. As we all know, listening to two people talk at the same time can be very, very difficult. So listening to lyrical music while someone's speaking to you in a meeting is probably not the best type of sound therapy in that environment. In that type of environment, you probably want to use something less distracting, like white noise or some chimes, something that doesn't overly draw your attention. So the point being is that sound therapy that you use can be influenced by a number of factors, such as how you're feeling that day. Some sounds you may not be in the mood to listen to. It could be the environment, like work, for example, and even the time of day. So when you wake up in the morning, You might not want to listen to hard rock music. You might want to listen to something a little more soothing to help you wake up. So when thinking about sound therapy, don't only think about different sounds you can use, but think about how you can use sound in unique and creative ways throughout the day to help you. Don't be afraid to explore different sounds and products that can help you throughout the day. So what types of devices are there available to you when it comes to delivering sound therapy? Well, there are sound devices and maskers. These are instruments that go over your ear. As you can see, they have a thin little tube and a dome that keep your ear open. And these can provide sound therapy all day long while being able to communicate freely and not have to take them out or recharge your batteries during the day. Mobile phones, tablets, earbuds, headphones. Most of us use our smartphones on a pretty regular basis throughout the day. Any music or sounds that you stream from your smartphone, you can stream directly to a set of earbuds or headphones. That could be used as sound therapy as well. Some people even use their phone speakers as sound therapy as well. So lots of different ways to deliver sound therapy. Bluetooth speakers. One of the drawbacks of Bluetooth speakers is that they present outwardly into the free field. So anybody in the vicinity will hear what it is you're playing. A lot of times this isn't always the ideal choice for bedtime, because if you have a partner in bed and they don't want to hear that sound while trying to fall asleep, that can be a little intrusive for them. So pros and cons to all these different ones. And we're going to go through that shortly here to kind of list out what the benefits and drawbacks are of each one. Some products you may not be as familiar with are sleep machines and sound pillows. These are designed more specifically for sleeping and when you're trying to fall asleep. Sleep machines, sound machines, these are readily available in a variety of locations, Amazon, for example. And these are sound machines that you place on your bedside, on your nightstand, that can play different sounds. They do have ones now that are Bluetooth, so you can stream whatever you like to it. And these are sounds that you can play at night to help you fall asleep by using sound therapy. Sound pillows are exactly what they sound like. It's a pillow that has speakers inside of it that produces sound. This is a good option. If you don't want to interrupt your partner, these can be a little more personal. And again, they have wired options that you could plug in, and they do have Bluetooth options that you could stream to as well. So a couple of different devices out there that are available to you to help you deliver sound therapy. And as I mentioned earlier, everyday sounds. Don't be afraid to use the fans in your home, TVs. It's the summer months for many of us right now. Some of you probably already have fans on. These could be great tools to use as background sound. So just like we did before, it's time to get your feedback. And in this one, what I'd like to do is ask you guys, what device do you most use for sound therapy? Take a few minutes here. Right. So let's take a look. So we've got a pretty even distribution between earbuds, sound generators, and hearing aids. So a good portion of you use sound generator devices already, it looks like, and some of you already wear hearing aids. And hearing aids, for those of you who have hearing loss, are a great option for sound therapy. Simply by amplifying sounds in your environment can help do a lot of the things that we've talked about in terms of sound therapy and habituation. I noticed one person mentioned that they have earbuds, but they cannot use at night. And that's a really good example of different products being most effective at different times of the day. I know many people don't like to fall asleep with earbuds in. They can be a little uncomfortable. They can block your ears, which could be safety hazards if a fire alarm goes off or if somebody's knocking at the door. Obviously, they can fall out while you're sleeping and you can roll over on them. That's where a sleep machine or a sound pillow is something that could come in handy when going to sleep. So It's a really good question. So thank you guys for sharing this information with us. Very, very interesting. And one thing I'm really excited to talk about today is a new product that Tinabot is launching. And this is Tinabot's premium sound device. And as I mentioned earlier, the great thing about a premium sound device is it allows you to enjoy sound freely all day long, meaning you don't have to take it out like an earbud if you're having a conversation with somebody, and you don't have to take it out to recharge the batteries. So how can Tinabot's premium sound device benefit me? Well, many of you already reported that you're using a sound device, so you know the benefits of it already. And one of the benefits is that it produces pleasant and soothing sounds. And we're going to give you an audio example here shortly of what the device actually sounds like. And as I've mentioned a few times, easy communication. You don't have to worry about taking them out. It leaves the ear canal open. It allows you to communicate freely no matter what you're doing throughout the day. So it gives you that confidence throughout the day that you'll have sound therapy with you the entire time. Sound generators are great tools to help kickstart the habituation process that we talked about. This can help allow the brain to start making those changes by being distracted by the sounds and changing those thoughts from negative to neutral over time. And as I said earlier, it can help distract away from the tinnitus. These sound generators are very, very small. What you see on screen is not drawn to size. They are small units that are comfortable and discreet, and other people won't even notice them. Even myself, being bald with no hair, they're very hard to notice because they are so small and discreet. They do also come with a remote control for easy, discrete adjustments. The remote control is about 2 inches long and about 1 inch wide. It's something that you could click onto your keychain. So you'd be able to make adjustments discreetly without having to reach up behind your ear to the instrument. And these are great devices to be part of a holistic care approach. And as we talked about earlier, just like incorporating relaxation techniques for stress management, things like that, this is a great tool that can be part of that comprehensive package to help manage tinnitus. So as I mentioned, we're going to have you take a little listen to what these devices sound like. Inside of these devices is what's called Zen therapy. And the Zen listening programs that come pre-installed into the devices will help kickstart that habituation process that we talked about. And these are very calming, soothing sounds to help distract the brain. So let's have a listen. So as you can hear, they're very chimey like, almost like you're listening to wind chimes. And as I said, these are pre-installed, set at a volume level that, as we talked about earlier, should be comfortable, not too loud, not too soft, but you do have the ability to adjust the volume on these devices using that remote control that comes with the device. So we've talked about a lot of different products that you can use to deliver sound therapy. So let's match them up side by side and see some of the pros and cons of each of them. So if we think about all day use, so this is for sound, using sound therapy all day long. We've got Tinabot Premium Sound Device. We've got earbuds and headphones, which many of you said that you currently use. And we've also got Bluetooth speakers. If we look at it from an open communication standpoint, obviously the open sound devices will allow you to communicate freely, as we discussed. Whereas earbuds and headphones, you do have to take them out every time you want to talk to someone. And Bluetooth speakers, not ideal for phone conversations or communications like that as well. In terms of facilitating the process of habituation, the Tinabot premium sound devices are configured specifically for that, specifically for tinnitus management, whereas most commercial earbuds and headphones are not designed specifically for tinnitus management. So, in terms of facilitating habituation, they're not as direct as the sound devices will. And that would be true of Bluetooth speakers as well. But of course, introducing any sound over time can help with the habituation process. From a portability perspective, flexibility, obviously the devices are small. You can put them behind your ear. You don't have to think about them till the end of the day. So you can move about freely in whatever environments you're in throughout the day. The same would be true of earbuds and headphones. You can move freely about using different earbuds and headphones. Whereas Bluetooth speakers, I think the days of walking around with a boom box on your shoulder close to your ear are probably about 30, 40 years past us. So probably not the most portable type of sound therapy that's out there. The Tinabot premium sound devices do not wirelessly stream. Whereas you can do that with earbuds and headphones as well as with Bluetooth speakers. In regards to all-day comfort, again, the premium sound devices, you can wear them throughout the day freely and comfortably. Earbuds and headphones can be a little agitating over time, can also kind of build some moisture in the ears, make our ear canals a little sweaty. They can itch, can build up wax and things like that. Obviously, a Bluetooth speaker is not on your body. It's off to the side, so there's really not a comfort issue involved in that. Battery life, the Tinabot premium sound device takes a size 10 battery that should last you a week, so you do not have to worry about changing it on a daily basis or recharging it. Whereas earbuds and headphones, typically for a full day use, there will be a point in time during the day where you will have to charge it. So you'll be without sound therapy for that time. And same with a Bluetooth speaker as well. As for discreetness, these instruments are really, really small. Earbuds and headphones, obviously more visible, more noticeable. And again, a Bluetooth speaker is pretty hard to walk around without it being discreet. So from an all-day use sound therapy perspective to help promote habituation, the Tinabot premium sound devices, which are specifically designed for that, I would say get the nod and have the greatest flexibility in terms of use compared to earbuds and headphones and Bluetooth speakers. Of course, that's not to say earbuds and headphones and Bluetooth speakers can't help. Of course they can, but it's about using them in the right situations to maximize their benefit. So some of you may be asking, are you a candidate for Tinabot's premium sound generator? Well, here's the quick checklist. Are you bothered by tinnitus? Have you had a tinnitus consultation with either a medical doctor, such as an ear, nose, and throat doctor, or an audiologist? You're not reporting any major hearing difficulties. You have good ability to handle small devices. As I mentioned, these are small units with small batteries, so good manual dexterity is important. And you're living in the US. For this specific offer that we're talking about today, you do need to be living in the US to take advantage of it at this time. So one last question to get your feedback. And this question, we want to find out how many of you feel a premium sound generator device is something that could benefit you. All right. And that's great to see that, over a third of you said yes. And a number of you also would like to learn more about it. And that's something we can definitely do. You can definitely learn more about it on the website or the app. You can also reach out to us as well. We'd be happy to talk a little bit further and answer any questions you may have. Once again, thank you for your feedback. That is very, very important to us. And it's great to hear everybody's story. So if you want to learn more, you can actually check your candidacy by scheduling a free 15-minute consultation with one of our tinnitus coaches. You can do this in the Tinabot app, or you can do this on the website, or if you prefer, you can email us directly at tinabot@hearingpower.co. Just make sure you notice that it's CO, not COM. And just reach out to us and, just title that email sound device candidacy and let us know your interest, and we'll be happy to get back to you as well. Alternatively, you can use the camera on your phone to scan that QR code, and that will allow you to schedule a free 15-minute consultation if you'd like. I'll leave that up there just for a minute in case anybody wants to scan it with their phone. And you can also become a member of the Tinnitus community with our premium subscription option. And what's included in that? You get 2 premium sound devices, one for the right, one for the left ear. You get 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with our tinnitus coaches at Tinnitus. You get full Tinnitus app access, which gives you access to a sound catalog, gives you access to a variety of relaxation exercises and other tools to help you manage your tinnitus. And we'll talk about that shortly here. You get access to the exclusive Tinnitus Monthly's newsletter, which will keep you updated on anything new, and exclusive webinars like we have today. So nice package you get for our premium subscription, allowing you to be part of our Tinnitus community. And because this is a new product we're launching, there is an exclusive launch special. So the entire package up until August 10th will cost $1,495 US, and that's $1,000 off the normal price. And that's the exclusive launch special that we're throwing until August 10th. Okay, so again, if you're interested, you can book that consultation appointment either through the app, the website, or you can email us directly. I just want to finish up going through some of the features that you can take advantage of in the app through this premium subscription. For some of you who may already be familiar with the app, you already know that there are adjustable soundscapes inside the Tinnitus app that allows you to use for sound therapy. So I'm actually going to walk you through here, and you could just a little demo. So when you go into the app, you'll see on the bottom menu bar, there's a sound option. By clicking on that, it takes you into the sound catalog, which opens up these unique soundscapes. And you can see, even within the soundscapes, you have the ability to adjust each sound so that you can really personalize these soundscapes according to your preferences. In addition, there's also a variety of different guided meditations and exercises that you can access here in this self-care tab with the heart icon. Inside there, you'll find a variety of different mindfulness exercises, relaxation exercises. There's breathing exercises to help you control your breath as well. So if you haven't downloaded the Tinnitus app, that's something I highly suggest you do today and get access to these soundscapes and these relaxation exercises as quickly as you can. And to sum it up, with great variance, because everybody is unique and different, it's important that we offer flexible tinnitus tools to meet the individual needs for each of you going through your unique journey. And that's what we at Tinnitus are here to do for you, is to help guide you through that journey the way that you need to be guided. And although there is no current cure for tinnitus, I think it's really important to make sure people really understand that a lot of people do find relief by using a lot of the tinnitus management techniques and practices that we've talked about today. The truth is, it does take time, it does take commitment, but that perseverance and dedication will get you to the other side and will help you find the relief that you're looking for. And using sound therapy is a great step in that journey to finding tinnitus relief. With that, I want to thank you guys. Again, you can scan that QR code if you want to book a free consultation, or you can email us directly or go through the app or the website to book that consultation as well.